And we are live.
Hey, good morning, everybody. How was your weekend? I hope everybody's been doing pretty well. We've been keeping it pretty busy over here on the back end of things. Lots of traveling and stuff like that happening these days. Lots of new things going on with reinventing the tattoo curriculum, which I'm so excited about. I was a participant in the first drawing class last night of it. The first week was a bunch of critiques on tattoos, which was incredible to see, and the response to it was amazing too. The amount of people that showed up. I'm gonna apologize in advance because I think I'm getting kind of stuffy. And no, it's not COVID. I think it's just a sinus infection thing. But anyways, yeah, we did that last night. It was a really good time. Lots of people in the crowd and stuff like that. Lots of people in the class. It was so cool to see all the different approaches and stuff like that to the same subject matter. To have Guy talking to us about like a lot of the ideas that he has going on in the canon and stuff like that, and his direction. So if you guys get a chance, make sure and if you're not involved in the first trimester, make sure and get it signed up for the second one because it's so well worth it. I have a good time with it all the time. It's changed up my drawings so much. But nonetheless, I'm happy to be here with you guys. I'm happy to be here on another Tuesday morning. Feeling all the feels, thinking about a lot of different things over the last couple weeks. And a lot of it is just, for me lately, has been acceptance. You know what I mean? There's so many things that come and go, and so many things that we try to control in our life. And some things you got to realize that the only thing that you can control really is the way that we react to things, right? Everything else is just kind of floating in space, so to speak. That includes our schedules and our drive, our goals, right? Mine has been this year to try to get drawings as close to complete as I can for tattoos that I'm doing, and providing me a glimpse into the amount of time it's going to take to do that. So what I've been doing lately is looking at my schedule, looking at the way that I've been taking in clients and stuff like that. And I've really been kind of trying to break it down. And I've never really done this before. I've always just been kind of like, oh, it's going to be fine. I can manage the schedule. It's no big deal. I'll eat later or I'll sleep later. And I miss out on things in my personal life that I'm trying to balance the two. You know what I mean? This is definitely going to help because what I've been doing is looking at my schedule and I've been trying to implement a certain time to respond to clients, implement a certain time to sit down and draw. If it's going to be a big sleeve, I've been trying to dedicate at least 3 or 4 hours a day to each sleeve, or bigger projects. The longer you tattoo, the more and more you'll find yourself, if you want to. I've always gravitated towards the larger pieces. I've always followed bigger tattoo artists that do bigger tattoos, like Jeff Gogwe or Philippe Lou way back in the day when I was watching him when I was first starting Guy Atchison. There's a lot of other people like Paul Booth. A lot of these names that have been kind of foundational in the tattoo industry's progress and the drive in art. And some of them, the names are kind of starting to take a back end on things, and that's fine because it's just a natural progression of things. But these people are foundational inspirations to me for sure. And that's one of the things that I took away from it was like, man, how are they doing such big pieces? Like, not necessarily the technical part of the tattoo, but like, how are they getting people in the door for these larger pieces? And I think I remember Jason or Kira talking about Teresa Sharp Art, and like she had a seminar or something like that on how to start doing that. And I'd be interested to check it out because it'd be nice to see somebody's method, their breakdown of how they started doing this. And I know for me, I haven't listened to that, so I'm just trying to take it step by step for myself and like what works and how to implement it. And so far, it's been figuring out a good amount of time, like a day, specifically for just drawing or just answering the clients. You know what I mean? Instead of like, oh, I got a minute, I'm gonna fucking, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm sorry to cuss. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right in and start answering to as many emails that I can and not really pay too much attention to them. Or you feel that like panicky anxiety about like all these emails that you have, which is a good problem to have. I'm not complaining at all, believe me, because I've been in the spot with tattooing in my career in the beginning where it's like, man, I'm just sitting here twiddling my thumbs. What am I going to do about my electric bill? You know what I mean? Or what am I going to do about that water bill? And that was a long, long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. But we're here now. I'm so thankful for it. I'm thankful to be on these episodes with you guys, for all of you guys to tune in. If there's anything out there, if any of you guys out there that are listening or joining us live right now, and you want to chime in on some things that you do, let us know. You know what I mean? Tell me what you got going on with the way you handle your schedule. I know I see a lot of tattooers these days kind of like putting a halt on the books, and I really want to do that because I'm getting bigger and bigger pieces coming in, like I said, and I have a couple people flying out from out of state now, which is amazing to me. I can't believe it. You know what I mean? Like I've tattooed people from around this area that have moved away and they're living in their new environment, and people are seeing their tattoos and stuff like that and asking them where they get them from, which is to me one of the best ways of spreading the good word, so to speak, or spreading your work is by word of mouth. You know what I mean? I don't know about you guys, but commercials suck. You know what I mean? Like if you break it down and you think about it, it's like you're paying somebody to make this image of you. You know what I mean? To create this idea of what it is that you're trying to do. And the best thing you can do is just do what you do as well as you can and let the rest kind of fall into place. That doesn't mean that you don't try, or that doesn't mean that you don't put effort into it, because we all need that. We all should do that, especially if you're trying to grow. But commercials suck.
Yeah, I agree. Back to one of the things you were talking about. There's the Explore Tattoo Conference or whatever this week, and Jason was talking about some of the stuff, and Teresa presents there, so that'd be cool if he came back with some new insight from her.
Yeah.
I saw her walking around the Philadelphia convention this weekend. Russ Abbott as well, but I didn't actually talk to them.
All right on.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, that would be cool to like pick her brain. You know what I mean? I'm sure she gets approached quite a bit. Her art style is pretty awesome. And I know Kieran and Jason have talked about how much they dig it quite a bit. You know what I mean? So like the whole kind of what style would you call that, Lauren? Would that be more like an illustrative kind of style, right?
I would say so. There's another couple words we could probably incorporate into that to really pinpoint it. It's definitely her original version of that.
Yeah,
but yeah,
sure.
let me I can pull up some of her work.
Yeah, let's do that. Her color, her like the usage of color and the color theory that she's using in her pieces it's awesome. It's pretty fantastic the way that she blends them together.
I think she has a sort of feminine perspective as well, which is super refreshing because she has been around for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
And she really kind of paved the way for other female tattooers and male as well. Just super inspiring.
Yeah, I remember when I was first coming into it, there was nothing but it was a pretty dominant male-driven industry. You know what I mean? And now you're seeing these like really talented artists, and like it doesn't matter that she's female; it's incredible.
Exactly, but she has finesse in her work and her designs. It's so cool to see these color combinations.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was saying.
Any piece that you click on of hers, the color theory is like right in your face.
Yeah, exactly. But it's very complimentary at the same time, though. Mm-hmm. But it's almost on the same side of the color wheel, but they are contrasting each other and complementing each other at the same time. Yeah, super clean, super open. I like the fact that there's like simple amounts of line work,
Mm-hmm.
And the design itself is kind of helping with the flow and the fit to the body. So I think it's crazy that you say it's feminine, but or that it can be said that it's feminine, but anything that's complementary to the body is going to work really well. And I don't know if that's what makes it look that quote unquote feminine kind of feel, but man, look at all the intersecting angles in this back piece and stuff like that. The way the dragon head crosses over the head, and then the hair is kind of going the opposite direction. Do you know
her approach to laying a design like this out?
No.
Okay.
No, but I can look at it and like from my approach, I can kind of like dissect it in that sense. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it looks like it's very complementary to the golden ratio kind of aspect, where there's triangles and stuff like that floating in the middle of the designs, and it helps with the focal point. It helps pull the eye up towards
Sure.
the main part of the subject.
Mm-hmm. It looks like
Um,
she's looking from the top of the neck down the legs rather than just the back. And that's
right,
really cool.
exactly.
So it gives
Yeah,
us so
yeah,
much
yeah.
more working space.
Yes, exactly. Sounds pretty crazy.
All right. So
That's
what are you
awesome.
working on this week or today?
Yeah. Today I'm just working on I have this guy coming in a little bit later today, and we're working on like a, I don't know, like a 3/4 sleeve kind of piece on the outside of his arm. And he gave me some subject matter. He really wanted to stick with the flourish, like the fleur de lis kind of things, or like the filigree type of design. It's pretty popular in a lot of tattoos right now, and I try to talk to him about some different ideas that we can kind of incorporate in it, but he was really sold on that idea, and that's what he wanted to see. So I might want to argue with somebody whenever that they really want something to look or have something on them a certain way. You know what I mean? So I did my best to kind of compliment it in a way that I think would be a little bit more my language. But we're gonna be working on that today, so I'm gonna be kind of like sharing with you guys just what's going on with it. Let me turn my camera around here. I don't know if you can see that. Can you see that?
Yep,
There
we
we
can
go.
see that.
Perfect. All right, cool. So he kind of threw it at me last minute that he wants this eye and the side of this triangle to be color. So I'm going through and I've just kind of created a new layer. I've erased what I did do there already. Let me see. That's not it. Oh, I thought I duplicated, but I'm not sure if I did. That happens sometimes, right? Yeah, I had a black and gray version where it was a little bit smoother than this, but looks like I didn't duplicate it. So we're just gonna keep working.
Yeah, Medusa commented that she is trying to work on her time management. So there's a lot of, I guess, a lot of different things you could talk about with that and like pointers, I guess. But like you said, I think one of the best would be devoting certain blocks of time to certain things rather than sporadically. So for me, for like checking your email, I could be
Yes.
checking every notification I get,
Mm-hmm.
but that would be like eating a noodle out of your spaghetti dish. Wouldn't you
Right.
want to? Yeah. So for me, I'll take like certain times of the day where I expect to do it, where, like throughout the day. But do you have any other pointers like that in terms of time management and the overall perspective that you have?
Man, I think that you nailed it, really, to be honest with you, with the that eating one noodle out of your spaghetti dish, you know what I mean? Like at a time, like, it shouldn't take forever. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's awesome. No, I think you have to be adamant. I think that word adamant comes up quite a bit when it comes to like running your own business. And like even if you do work for an established tattoo shop and they have a lot of things, so unless they have somebody that handles all these things for you, and if you're not managing your own schedule, you don't really have to worry about it too much. But if you are managing your own schedule and you do operate in a capacity where you're the one kind of managing your money, managing your time and stuff like that, that word adamant is a very important one, in the sense that there's a good way to be responsive to clients and to potential clients, in a sense of being polite, but at the same time setting a boundary for yourself. And I think a lot of us can do that, but a lot of us can't do it for ourselves, right? And it's so weird how we can do that with other people or other things, but when it comes to ourselves, we just let things slide quite a bit. Like, I'll just get to it later. I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to wake up when I said I was going to wake up. You know what I mean? Like, it's important to kind of practice that method in other areas of your life first before you start even trying to apply it to something that is bringing you like a money or a livelihood. Does that make sense? So I think, if anything, if I was to answer that question, Lauren, I would say you got to start practicing it in other venues of your life first.
That makes sense. Makes a lot of
Yeah.
sense.
Yeah.
There are new ways to adapt technology as well. That's something that Gabe and I work on quite a bit. So if
Mm-hmm.
you utilize technology for funneling your clients to a certain way where they hit every corner. And I know there's certain artists like around the world that have been doing this in really creative ways where they have like a very specific step one process where people can really understand the type of expectations you have without large conversations, like this is what I do, this is how my process goes, this is how I book, this is how, and you get a lot of those questions out of the way. And people really do appreciate ample amounts of literature about you and your process. They'll read it because when you're getting a tattoo, you want to soak up all of this information.
Okay.
So that would be, I've seen, there's different ways of automatic email responses with really, really in-depth, initial questions answered and stuff like that. And so you feel more comfortable and less likely to go back and explain all of those things over and over and over.
You know what? That's very true, because like a lot of times as tattoo artists, I'm sure we can all relate that we get asked the same question pretty often. You know what I mean? And I think we might have forgotten quite a bit because like with the whole quarantine COVID thing, everybody kind of like laying low and stuff like that for the past couple of years. But you go out to a bar, you go out to hang out with your friends and stuff like that, and people hear that you do tattoos, and boom, they're all over it. They're asking you questions about like how much for a tattoo and like when can I come in? I want to come in. I'm going to come in tomorrow, man. You know what I mean? I'll be there. And then we're all like dependent on these people to be there, and they don't even show up. You know what I mean? You're like, dang, dog, for real, man. We just like sat there for like 30 minutes talking about your elaborate tattoo that you want 30 things in for your parents or something like that. And
that's why you get the deposit at the bar.
Right. And that was one of the things that I first started doing, speaking of technology, was taking deposits like on my phone through Venmo and stuff like that. And I remember people dropping off like quick, like, you know what I mean? Like, oh, wait, you want me to pay you some money now? I'm like, yeah, dude, we can take care of it now. And it'll guarantee you a spot, man. They're like, oh, cool. Well, I'll just come in later. I'll talk to you later. I'm like, all right, cool. Take it easy. It was a good way for me to like not feel like I was being a jerk to somebody. You know what I mean? Which you're not really being a jerk. You're just kind of like talking to a dude. You're like, hey, man, I'm just having a beer, dude. You want to have a beer with me? Let's just hang out.
Yeah, that's true. They're bringing it, your work, to the bar. So when you're talking about time management,
yes,
it's like you're surrounded by everybody who's enthralled by the craft because it's kind of uncommon. Essentially, it's common but uncommon.
Exactly.
I feel like everybody here in Oregon is a tattooist, but we've got different laws though for licensing. So anybody with like $16,000 can technically say that they're a tattooist.
Oh, wow.
Is that how much it costs you to get your stuff or what?
10 to 16-ish in that range, depending on where you're going. It's because, Oregon laws require you to do schooling. And so in order to get your license, and then after you get your license, then you can like pursue an apprenticeship and stuff. But a lot of people will just pay for the schooling, get the license, and then open up a private studio and be like, I'm a tattooist.
Yeah.
That's kind of like that noodle in the spaghetti bowl. Like they might be a tattooist, but they're not going to accomplish the same things. But I can't say that you would accomplish that with the schooling. But like the Reinventing the Tattoo or programs and stuff like that is totally different.
Yeah. I feel like the things that are different in Oregon are just, it's Oregon laws. Those aren't going to change. They've been around for like 20 years and they're going to keep being around. There's no point in trying to argue with them. I have been trying to make up for my weird licensure through Oregon by obtaining as much knowledge from fellow artists as possible. Hence why I'm like on Reinventing the Tattoo. I am like always at these drawing groups and stuff. But here it feels like everybody at the bar is all like, oh yeah, I'm a tattooer, I got a private studio, blah blah blah. So it doesn't feel like that much of a what's the word, a commodity, hot commodity.
Mm-hmm. Supply and demand kind of thing. There's like more supply than there's demand.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
The bar that's right next to the shop I work at is also right next to a building that hosts a bunch of private studios. So everybody's a tattooer.
Oh, I see. So like everybody there is like a what? Like it's like a co-op kind of thing where everybody has their own studio, but it's all in one space.
There's a building like that pretty close. It's like an artist loft building, and they
Yeah.
have about 30 licensed artists working there.
Wow.
And it's like right across the street too from the
You
tattoo
said
supply
30,
shop.
30, right?
30.
Oh my golly.
I know.
I've never, that's probably the biggest thing that I've heard of.
It's like a warehouse with, but the storage units are actually just little mini studios.
Wow. That's
But like
interesting.
every single one of them has a sink, and they're up to like Oregon code and Oregon standards. There's actually more studios in there than 30, but according to their like coding, the coding and more law stuff, they can only have 30 tattooists rent studios there. And there's a bunch of different people from a bunch of different backgrounds that are there too. Like there's a couple of kids that are just like fresh out of school that got their own little studio space and are slinging bangers out of there. And then there's like there's a guy there that's been tattooing for over 20 years, and he just got tired of working in shops and wanted his own personal space.
Yeah. So you have it all. You have all of it. You have like the younger generation. You have like an older generation, which can be pretty cool. You know what I mean? Because like I wonder if they're sharing such close space, there's got to be like a shared knowledge kind of thing going on there too. Yeah.
I would hope so. I mean,
Yeah.
like it's all, every space is like closed behind closed doors, there's walls and everything. So it's not open air talking. But I
Right.
do know that like a lot of the artists know of each other or talk to each other in the hallways, because I've gone there to get tattoos before from like certain artists. And one of my friends does skincare treatments out of that place, and so she's become friends with a whole bunch of the tattooers there and all of
That's
that.
awesome.
And just like 2 blocks away, I'm in a walk-in shop, so we get to toss stories back and forth about how taking care of your own studio space and having your like own separate overheads different versus walk-in shops, because they aren't getting the infinity symbols, but they are paying for all of their own supplies and their own rent and all of that. And I'm all like, I'll just contribute towards that and not take care of the bills myself and do 20 infinity symbols in a day.
Yeah.
Gotta practice that line work.
That's definitely a really cool perspective, where it's like you are more open rather than closing yourself off. And maybe if you do 20 million infinity symbols, you still have all of that practice ahead of you. And I'm sure you're going to evolve into something totally different, But it's cool that you're just super open to taking each piece and finding a way that you can get better with it.
Oh yeah, with the walk-ins, I've had a lot of fun with them actually. A bunch of walk-ins are the way that you like get your regulars, right?
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
that's how I'm getting one of my like regulars. He's always coming back for tattoos, and when his isn't healed enough to keep working on a project, he'll be like, I don't care, let me see your flash book, we'll just start something else. Came in, he's one of my favorites. He came in as a walk-in, going through divorce, and so like, my wife never let me get tattoos, I want a tattoo, and he played our Get What You Get machine and has been chilling ever since. But
Yeah, that's awesome.
Sorry,
Yeah,
Do you
so
do anything with
there.
your do you guys do anything with your existing clientele to kind of like stay in touch, or is it if you contact me we'll talk?
I mean, I've only been tattooing for like a year and a half. About a year and a half. Um,
Rocking
I mean,
it out.
the pandemic screwed up about a bunch of stuff. I got licensed before the pandemic and then the pandemic. So I think I know that everybody has a different way of keeping in touch with their clients and stuff. Like my boss has been tattooing for 20 years. Actually, in this last June was her 20-year anniversary of graduating from apprentice to tattooer. And she just has clients that she's like just become friends with over the years. I try to keep in touch with everybody like over Instagram and stuff. I'm thinking about sending out emails to my list of clients like once a month to like let them know when new Flash is coming out, but I'm not really sure how to like
I think that
continue
would
with
be a
that part
really,
of
really
it.
good idea. I know that if you've met Gabe at all, he's got some really great pointers on staying in contact, but there's just it's like you can develop almost a sense of community if you start doing that over time, even if someone's not going to get tattooed, but over time, say it just expands and like they almost develop a relationship with you through these monthly or weekly or whatever updates, and over time that'll definitely help build your clientele.
It does help. There's a lot of things that people are more and more comfortable with, like receiving text messages and stuff like that on their phone or giving out their personal information like that. You know what I mean? That helps out quite a bit. I've always been apprehensive because I'm like on that borderline age where I don't think I had a cell phone until I was like 23 or 24 or something like that. You know what I mean? So it depends on the person, really. Some people are totally comfortable with it. I'm so apprehensive about it sometimes, but a lot of people are into that kind of thing where you can get a little bit more relatable with them, a little bit more personable with them, like on a daily kind of thing, or like every week or every month kind of thing, like you're talking about. Or just sends out like a little message, like, "Hey, what's up?" Just wanted to say hello from XX Tattoos or whatever. Or just tell them about a special or something like that. But I've never really ran anything like that. I've never really ran specials or discounts or anything like that. It's just like, come on in, man. And
I think that if you had something set up where it was like, even, hey, check out some of the pieces I did this week,
right,
or any type of communication, I think that our inboxes are full of stuff, all sorts of emails. And I've heard statistically that's one of the most stressful things these days is all the crap that we receive. But if you can add some value and share something like, I've been working on this design this week and I did these tattoos, or anything like that, even if it's just a touch base email once a month or a newsletter of what's new, I think that it's a totally different thing from aside from Instagram and aside from posting on social media.
right.
I just got that tattooing business seminar packet thing
Oh, cool.
on the Reinventing forums yesterday. So I'm going to be starting that pretty soon. I think Gabe's the one that does that, right?
Yep, that's a really good one. Really, really interesting on basically attacking things before they happen. There's a lot more that goes into it, of course, but that's one of the takeaways that I had. For running a business and maybe if your employees and such, like having certain meetings together and everybody being on the same page before there's any issues at all.
That helps out a lot. I was gonna say there's a guy I've been working with recently from an app called Linework. They're bringing in a bunch of things together, like scheduling and reaching out to clientele and things like that, like keeping track of money that's been spent. There's a lot of like apps and stuff like out there that promote tattooing, and like if you buy our app, it'll help you out your business and stuff like that. But this one is actually pretty good, and like they've been working on it for the past few years, and I think they're starting to get closer and closer to having it finished where it's going to be very cohesive for the tattoo industry, for the tattoo artists in particular. So keep an eye out for that because that one's pretty good. We're working on some beta stuff and it's pretty awesome already.
Yeah, that's the one that Gabe had recommended.
Yeah, Yeah,
Okay.
line work. Yeah, keep an eye out
Wait,
for it.
does that like keep track of like booking as well, or is that just kind of money management?
No, it keeps track of booking. It keeps track of money management. They're working on it to where it'll help keep track of like the money you spend on supplies and things like that too.
Oh
It's
my
gonna,
God, that sounds heavenly.
yeah, dude. Like the way it works too is like you'll be able to just print out a sheet and take it to your tax person too. You know what I mean?
Oh, oh,
Yeah.
you're making me froth in the loins, my friend.
How does it also I was gonna say Conan Lee, we had met him in at the Red Tree event this month or last month I guess. And he has a tattoo release forms app, and I'm not sure what you're doing for that either, but keeping and maintaining those files seems like a bit of a task as well.
Oh yeah.
Oh, I have a box, an overfilling box full of manila envelope with all of the tattoo release forms, which have tripled in size because we have 2 more forms, and those are both COVID release forms.
Yeah.
And I really want to go digital, but you know, the shop I work at's pretty old school. Like one of the co-owners been tattooing for like 30 years. She's not retired, but on hiatus right now. And then the other co-owner, like I said, 20 years. And it's pretty old school. We just got a new Thermofax because our old one was from like the 60s.
Nice.
And yeah, everything at our shop is pretty old school. Like my boss said that she still has like a drawer full of acetate stencils.
Oh man.
So I think she said that she would teach me to make an acetate stencil and we could have like a night of trying to tattoo ourselves. But I don't think I'm ready for that panic attack.
Yeah, dude, that's gonna be a whole lot of dry wiping, dry dabbing, and like don't breathe too hard on your acetate stencil either, because oof.
Just don't
Bye-bye.
breathe.
Yeah, just don't breathe. Don't breathe on it whatsoever. Don't wipe it. Don't do nothing.
So I already dry dab when I do the initial line work, and it wasn't until recently when I was watching one of the Tattoo Now shows. It was with Fawn Baker. She's calling one of her coworkers a dry wiper and yelling at them about that.
I could see her doing that.
And I was just like, yo, man, when I'm doing the initial line work, like I dry dab because I don't want to lose my stencil.
Yeah. Yeah, dry wiping and dry dabbing is 2 different things though, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when you're dry wiping, it's like, oof, man, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. But yeah, dry dabbing though, I highly recommend that too. So you're doing the right thing. But dry wiping, no, thank you.
Have you guys like heard of different colored stencil paper reacting differently with like stencil stuff?
I haven't. I've only recently seen like the red stencil paper and stuff like that. I've only recently seen that.
Oh yeah.
I think they make that in Wisconsin, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, cool.
We used to have red stencil paper at our shop. My coworker said that it just shows up better on darker skin.
Okay.
And so that's what it was used for. So when we had darker skin clients, we would use the red stencil paper because it shows up better than the purple.
Gotcha.
But with our new Thermofax machine, we got a pack of green stencil paper.
Wow.
And it works. The new machine works really well with this green stencil paper. Like stencils are coming out perfectly. But I think I figured out what life was like in the time of acetate stencils, because this green stencil paper, even with stencil stuff, when I like put it on, it wiped away immediately, and I was like heartbroken. And I was like, good thing I know how to draw, because I'm winging it for this tattoo.
Wow.
And like I did the same method I do with the regular stencil paper, you know, Spirit purple, but this green stuff, which is also Spirit brand, Just wiped off immediately.
Wow, that's weird. I was just about to ask if you do the same method for applying the stencil, but it sounds like you do.
Yeah, shave them, alcohol it to get all like the grease and dry out the skin, apply stencil stuff. I do a couple of layers of stencil stuff. I apply one layer, kind of let it dab it on, let it kind of dry a little bit, and then do another layer so it's just barely moist. And put the stencil on, let the stencil sit there for like a minute while I finish setting up the station, then peel the paper off. And usually the stencil's there for good, but not with this green paper, man.
It's weird. Huh, I don't know.
Yeah. So I thought it was just me too, but it turns out everybody in the shop was having similar problems. So yeah, I was just wondering if you guys have ever heard of that.
No, not on my end. The only thing I've ever really used is just like the traditional purple thermofax paper, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Which works out pretty well. I used some stuff called Jason turned me on to this stuff. Hold on one second. I don't know if you can see this or not. It's called Stencil Premium.
Oh.
You get it from overseas, and this stuff is like concrete. It's crazy.
So how about taking it off though? Like if you put the stencil, a centimeter too high and the client's like, can I just move it?
Well, that's the one thing. It'll definitely take a little bit to take it off, but I usually use like some little, you can use those little packets of like alcohol wipes and stuff like that,
Yeah.
Just kind of wipe it down. And the only problem with that is that you want to take it off pretty quick or else it's going to stay on there. And you don't want to rub it too much because then it's going to get, all irritated and stuff like that too by the time you go to tattoo. But yeah, he turned me on to this stuff, man, and it's pretty incredible. It's 100% non-toxic. It's safe for most skins. It's like vegan friendly. It's deodorant free too, which I don't know if a lot of people know about a lot of stencil stuff, but back in the day, you used to use speed stick.
Speed stick. Dude, we were cleaning out some old drawers that nobody had touched in the shop in like years, and our counter person found like 5 speed sticks. It's like, do we still use speed sticks, guys? Like, when was the last time you used a speed stick?
Yeah, I used to like make my own stencil cream stuff, you know what I mean? And like, you have to use a microwave and stuff like that, dude. The whole place would stink like a speed stick for like days. It's just like, oh gosh, this is terrible.
Oh man. Yeah, so like I've only been tattooing for like maybe a year and a half, but I like I had said, I think before previously, whatever, I had tried to get started in the industry like over 10 years ago. The common story of like multiple failed apprenticeships and a few years in between. But yep, definitely one of my first apprenticeships, it was, a speed stick thing.
Yeah.
Everybody had speed stick. And I remember not knowing that there was any other way.
Yep. Exactly. That's kind of the way where I was too. It's like, okay, well, I guess it's just the way we do it. So you stuck with it, right?
Yep. To this day, still using speed stick.
Yep. Just take that tongue depressor out and scrape it off. Rub it in your hands a little bit and spread it on. And that was in the day when apprenticeships were like, oh, your machine isn't running right. Turn the power up, man. Like, what? That doesn't make sense.
It wasn't even that long ago.
Yeah, I know.
That was like only like, okay, I think my first apprenticeship was at this point probably 14 years ago. 14 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. Oh, I'm sorry. I just aged myself.
That's not that long ago. Come on now.
How old are you?
I'm 44.
Okay, cool. Whew.
33. Ricardo, I'm almost 10 years behind you. I'll be 34 tomorrow.
There you go.
Oh, happy birthday.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I'm going through some photos from Philadelphia. I don't know if you guys want me to share them in a minute or not,
Yeah, let's check them out.
just to see. I'm going through them, so in just a couple minutes I'll pull them up.
I forgot that Philadelphia was going on when I texted Jason. It's like, yo, what's going on? Why aren't you logging in on Zoom? I can't find the link. I don't think it's working.
We honestly tried to do a lot of live streaming in there, and it was useless.
Yeah, I can only
Gotcha.
imagine how
It
hard
was
it
so
was to get on
upsetting.
the Wi-Fi network there.
Oh yeah, it was.
With all the people there, man, it's probably just like drained.
Oh
Yeah,
man,
there's no chance for a hotspot or anything.
I remember just trying to do Monday night exercising with with Guy at Paradise, and everybody just being like, we can't hear crap in the bar.
Yeah, that was hard. It was fun though. Like
It was
I'm sitting in a
super
bar. Like, you know how many times I've been in a bar? I'm like, can we watch something else besides this stuff? You know, like I don't want to see no sports. I don't want to see no foosball. And then like there you are in a bar. First of all, we get to hear, you know, the vapors of morphine, and then next you get to like watch stats and up on the TV and stuff like that. And everybody's in there like drawing and stuff. That was fun as hell. So surreal.
It was so fun, but if Guy said a single word, it was not heard.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so loud.
Yeah, it was loud. And then yeah, you know, one time I was down in New Orleans years ago, and me and my buddy went down there. A friend of ours had a bad breakup, and we just went down there and like hung out with them and stuff, worked at a shop and everything like that. It was awesome. But we went to this place called the Saint, and it was this like house that somebody turned into a bar. And it was the first place that I went to where there wasn't any sports on the TV. They were actually playing like the one of the Kurt Cobain like movies that they had at the time, and it was pretty awesome. I was like, this is incredible. You guys are playing movies, or we're sitting here hanging out. And the bar was like, you know, the cooler was like pretty much like a fridge. It was so radical, man.
All right, I'm gonna go ahead and
everything in there.
pull some up in the background. I don't know if you're working on, or if you're able to see. Are you able to see?
Yeah,
I can see.
there you go.
Okay, so I guess this one only has two. So this is Aaron. Aaron is tattoo. He was super cool. He had a lot of insight onto what's happening in Ukraine. I really enjoyed talking to him. So I got to see him and Mark Longnecker. These are a couple of friends of mine, Tommy and Dominic. Dominic's got a really cool documentary or like TV series thing that he's working on that I found pretty interesting.
Nice, dude.
And let me pull up the other one. And the next photo is a guy named Emmanuel Fortonato. He's really cool. He's been tattooing for quite a while, and he's at Inkology. And he was working with this tattoo armor booth this weekend that I thought was pretty interesting. They seem to have pretty cool different products.
Tattoo armor.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
normally
familiar with that.
Normally they were overseas. This is one of the first times I've seen them here.
Is it like a bandage that they're putting on afterwards or something?
Yeah, I think it's that and kind of overall care.
Okay.
Yeah, I've
This
heard
Sullen shirt is really
armor.
popular.
What's that?
This Sullen shirt is really popular. I noticed it quite a few places. All right, do you guys know who this is?
I don't know if I know that guy or not.
He was working so much. I mean,
It's awesome.
it was incredible. Like, he did not stop.
It's good.
Yeah, look how focused he is.
That dude's lasered.
We've also got a friend of mine, Jeremy Brown, out of Ohio, Cincinnati area.
Radical.
And this guy is the one who took Best of Show. He worked on Chris. This is Chris's leg, Ricardo. He
Yep,
did
nice
from
George.
here, I don't know if you can see my cursor, from down here all the way up to here
Oof.
for 3 days.
Whoa.
And on the very first day, this client was also, Tony didn't have a client or something, the client didn't come through. And so he got his forearm piece done at the same time as this one.
That's so radical.
Yeah, he's so cool. Do you guys know who this is?
I don't think so.
This is Mark Longnecker. He was on, I think, like Ink Master and stuff like that way back in the day. He's in Florida, but Endless Summer Tattoo out of Florida is this guy. He's incredible color artist. So if you get a chance, look up Mark Longnecker.
Okay.
Martin Martinez, an old friend of mine. I caught some shots of him. Tried to add a little perspective in there. This girl was right across from us. She made good friends with Jason, and I think they are really interested in joining some of our exercises and stuff like that.
Radical.
So I don't know about you, Medusa, but it's cool and refreshing to see like some homegirls out there, you know?
Oh my God, yes.
Yeah.
Dude, at the last convention I worked at, I think like our booth was popping. It was lit. And I think it's because we have like pink everything and little glitter lights. And it's just our whole shop is just a bunch of cute girls. And
awesome.
we were definitely just like, you guys gonna wear your cleavage shirts today? Because I need to make money.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, I think we've been working on, we've been getting a lot of female clientele at our shop because word has been spreading that we're all girls and that a lot of people are feeling really safe with us.
Good for you.
And it's a nice environment for, you know, the more sensitive people that might be wanting to get tattoos who, you know, want to get a tattoo in an intimate area, but don't want to be in a shop full of a bunch of dudes.
Hey, can I interrupt you really, really quickly? Vincent, if you're watching, if you don't know how to DM, I can set you up or double check that link. Just make sure that you do have Zoom installed on your computer, and it should pull up. But I'll double check the link and make sure everything is looking good. Or if you could send us an email at management@reinventing the tattoo, I'll respond right away with the Zoom link. So if you're watching, that will definitely be helpful. Vincent is commenting saying that this old dog wants to learn some new tricks, and he's really enjoying. He said Teresa Sharp is one of his favorite artists. And
There you go.
yeah, so if you're watching, Vincent, we'd love to have you join us.
Come on in, Vincent.
Join us, Vincent.
The water's just fine.
Play with us, Vincent.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just sometimes the technology, you know, it just changed so much really fast with COVID that it just, yeah.
Dude, the first Zoom I ever did was with Jason on one of his classes on Sunday. It was actually Valentine's Day last year. And the first time that I met Jason and Bruno and Gabe was on his Sunday drawing class, man. It was incredible. I was just like, what the hell am I doing? Oh my God, this is crazy. But it was fun as hell.
That's kind of like the first time I met Jason. He was doing a show and he started talking about pigments and he had no idea who I was, and I joined over Zoom and he could only hear my voice. He ended up saying like, who are you? Like, because we were connecting and it was just our voices.
Yeah. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
It's the future. Like I remember when I first started tattooing people in when was it, like 2003, 2004, and I was meeting them and I was tattooing like husband and wife and stuff. I was like, so how'd you guys meet? They're like, oh, in a chat room on AOL, like back in like 98 or something like that. I'm like 97. I'm like, dang, dude, that's crazy. You know, like
Dude,
it just blew my mind.
some of my longest friends, oh, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead.
Oh, just some of my longest friends are from the internet, from like Yahoo chat rooms. Some of them I still haven't met in person, but it's been, I think I first logged into a Yahoo chat room when I was like 17. I went into a comic book themed chat room because that's my jam. And to this day, I'm 35. I'm still in touch with a lot of those people. A lot of us we've connected in person. A lot of us we still haven't connected in person, but like some of them got married and have kids now. And then they're all like, how'd you guys meet? And it's like, oh, comic book chat room on Yahoo.
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's kind of like the ultimate way to get to know somebody, right?
Yeah, I mean, it takes, I think a lot of people are like, oh, internet relationships aren't real. And it's like, actually, no, some of my truest, longest friendships are from it because like you have nothing but your voice to keep you, or not your voice, you're typing, you know, and words and stuff to keep you going. So it's not like you have activities to do together to be entertained.
Well, yeah, you're getting to know somebody like you're truly getting to know somebody instead of there being like some kind of physical connection or like, you know what I mean? Because sometimes that can complicate things too. You know, sometimes there can be some emotions brought up through physical contact that's not really there emotionally, you know what I mean?
Oh,
So,
oh yeah.
so it's pretty, yeah. So it's pretty neat to be able to like just get to know somebody. You know what I mean? But that's how I met Jason and Bruno and Kieran and these guys and you and Lauren and stuff like that. Gabe, everybody. It's been pretty wild, dude. And then meeting you guys in person at the BYOB was even cooler. You know, I was like, oh shit, right on. This is awesome. You guys are people. Holy crap.
Yay.
Oh man, that was pretty wild. Hey, so how's that machine running? Do you like it?
Oh, the Numa.
Yeah.
I love it.
Okay.
Oh.
Is it like pretty? Is it pretty much what you wanted out of it? Like everything you wanted out of it?
I have only used it for line work so far.
Okay.
And I got the stroke setting up to the 20% thing, and I've been using or like the what is it called? The cam, the 20% cam. Been having that set up. I really like it. I haven't tried using it for shading yet, but I've been borrowing one of my coworkers' Bishop wands, trying that out for shading. So between using a Numa 4 for aligning and a Bishop wand for shading, I have been loving tattooing this last week.
You've been loving it.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
loving the crap out of it. I'm loving it.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Numa is, it's I think 9 ounces in the solid brass thing, and it is heavy, but oh my goodness, the weight ratio, the way that it's bottom heavy makes it so nice. It's definitely taken a lot of strain off of having to hold like a light pen that has a heavy
Yeah.
battery case.
Right. Right.
And it's definitely making me never want to ever go back to coils.
Yeah. Because I was gonna say, like, from I learned on how to tattoo on coil machines. You know what I mean? And like I tuned them and all that stuff like that and everything. And I loved them, but they got heavy. After a while. And the lighter the machines went, it doesn't really have the same effect and everything like that. You know what I mean? That you're coming to with that counterbalance and everything like that. So you're saying versus a coil machine, this machine is more bottom heavy than it is back end heavy, like over your hand.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. That's cool.
Really like that. It takes the strain off of trying to balance it. So which repositions how you're holding the weight in your hand, and overall I think it's going to be better for my wrist. And yeah, it's pretty great. I haven't tried the other cams in the Numa for shading or anything yet, but so far as a liner, it's great. I did not tattoo Everybody Wants a Piece of Ricardo on myself as per your request.
Thank you.
But I thought about it.
No. Thanks, man. Yeah, no. So what did you end up tattooing with that then?
I actually just used it on a client, and they wanted the first client I had that day, the first walk-in, because I had a no call, no show. So I got a free deposit, and
nice.
I would have rather done the tattoo.
Yeah.
But so I took a walk-in that just wanted some simple words, I think in like typewriter font or something. So I just got to practice using a little liner, and it was great. I just did little bangers for the rest of the day.
Rock and roll.
But
that's rock and roll. Yeah.
It's nice. I really like the Numa 4. It's a lot louder than other pens. It's like, it's loud like a coil, but it's also supposed to punch like a coil too. So
that's awesome. I've heard a lot of good things about it.
Yeah. A lot of people were talking about the Numa this weekend.
Yeah, I'm digging it. I think it's going to be my go-to liner. I'm interested to have a couple of my coworkers that are loyal to the coil try out my Numa and see how they feel.
What I've noticed, a lot of people that are first trying the pens, they don't like them automatically because of like the counterbalance issue. You know what I mean? And they're just so not used to that idea of that. And it's just like the whole, like you said, like not necessarily loyal to the coil, but they're just like, I don't know, man. They're real apprehensive about just trying something so new, you know, for them. So it is good. It is good to have somebody jump in with that kind of a machine where it would punch more like what they're used to, because the pens that I've used are definitely, you have to change it up a little bit for lining for sure. So if you can jump into a pen that has that kind of a punch to it, then that's even better if you're going straight from coils, you know?
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's like Carson Hill. That's his name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
that's isn't that the reason that he like made the whole Numa thing, was because he wanted a pen that worked like a coil?
Yeah, I believe so. I never used the air or the pneumatic ones. I've never used those. So I couldn't tell you the difference between these and the newer ones, or those and the newer ones, but I would assume they probably hit a lot differently than the pneumatic ones. But yeah, that's cool as hell, man. Kudos to you for jumping in there and trying it out, and I'm glad it's working out for you.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I have a question about
What's
what I'm
up?
drawing.
Let's check it out.
So I put this big hole in this tree and I was thinking of having something come out of it, but I don't know what to draw. So that I'm trying to figure out to like bottom end it. And also, I think this branch is really disrupting the visual look of it. And I don't know what to do.
Zoom in again. Okay. Yeah, I think for the fact that I think if you were to have it curve a lot less to the back end of it, like towards like 2 o'clock or whatever, if you were to have it go more towards 12, like show a little more straight up, that might have changed it up a lot. Yeah, like a little straighter up. Yeah, not so much curve to it. I think that would help out quite a bit.
Okay.
You know
I
what I
feel
mean?
like one of the things is also this thickness of this
Mm-hmm.
branch area right here. It's pretty thick compared to everything around it, which is pretty short.
You
And
could have the
thin.
branch that's right directly on. So touch the branch again and
This
go
one?
over to your right. Yep, and go to your right just a little bit. Go to
Right.
your. Okay, so just a little less. Right there.
This one.
No, back down. Right there. Okay, so that branch right above it, instead of having the curve go over that branch that's behind it, have that branch that's behind it come over that curve. Right there where your pin's at. Does that make sense? So that top curve on that thicker branch that you're talking about.
This one?
Yes, that branch right there. Yeah. So you have the branch that's directly behind it.
Yes, this one.
Yeah, I would have it come over that back curve rather than like right below where your pin's at.
Oh, like over there?
No, not over that portion. Over the bottom portion. Right there. Yep. Have it come over there
Here.
instead. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Yeah, that
saying?
looks like it would take out the fatness of it for sure.
Exactly. Yeah. Take out the
While adding
weight from it.
depth.
Yep. And it adds to like the reason that part of the trunk is so thick. So I'll have it go a
Gotcha.
little straighter up because you have a lot of angle, like you have a lot of the same flow for those branches. So you need something to like dissect a lot of that movement. I think that'll help out quite a bit. And if you had it go straight up versus that curve, it's going to help out a lot more. Yeah, there you go. And
I'll
then you can
work
have them
on
kind of
that.
branch off of the top too.
I'll work
And then
on.
the stuff coming out of the bottom, I mean, you can go crazy with it if you wanted to. Like you could have some mushrooms growing out of the bottom of it, almost upside down even. Or like I think last night you had some skulls in there too, right? Like you could totally have a skull kind of pouring out of it.
Yeah, a couple of skulls. And then a guy was saying to like make it not so that they are coming out of nowhere, to like incorporate them into the tree somehow. I wasn't quite sure, but I can make a little skull tree. I don't know.
Yeah, make it a skull tree. Lauren and I were just talking about that earlier. I don't know if you heard us, Melissa, but we were saying like how, you know, with the advancement of tattooing, with as much knowledge and stuff that we all share now, with all the access to equipment and everything like that, eventually people are going to be able to tattoo. And like, it's even more obvious now that you were talking about like that co-op of tattoo artists that have 30 plus tattoo artists in one space, which is awesome. But you know, everybody's going to be able to tattoo equally, and the only thing that's really going to change anything is going to be like your approach to your artwork and your approach to your tattoos and stuff like that. So I think subject matter has a lot to do with it, and like kind of like speaking your voice through your art. It's kind of like a painting, you know what I mean? You can go into a gallery with a bunch of different artists, and one of them will speak to you versus the other ones that don't really say too much to you at all, but they're all equally like done really well, you know? I'm sorry if you guys can hear that. Can you hear that alarm?
Smidge.
Maybe.
Okay.
Also, Atomic, what's up? He says, hey, what's up, Ricardo? And also, Kyle, how's it going?
What's
If you
up,
guys want
guys?
to jump on, you're more than welcome. We'd love to see you.
Here's what I did last night for that class.
Oh, dude, that's sick.
I'm not too happy with this portion right here. I think I'm gonna play with that, but it's still very much like just like the you know, the rough end of all of it. But I think it'd be pretty cool to have this part going down the forearm and like the elbow area here, come up the bicep and the tricep here, and then cap shoulder.
Can you guys kind of tell me a little bit, because I missed it last night, I was traveling, what the assignment was?
Last night was flow and fit, and the subject matter was a tree.
Okay.
And we're just kind of going over the idea of subject matter, and then we're going over the idea of how it's going to be in a composition. I think that's what he kept saying last night was like the important part of tonight's exercise is the composition, you know, and just making it fit the arm in an interesting way. And he's always stressing quite a bit about like the bottom part of it, like what part of it's going to stick out of a shirt, you know, and how do you make it look interesting if you can't see the whole tattoo, you know? So
He's making us think.
yeah,
making us use our brains.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Dang
Isn't
it, guy.
crazy? I know. Tell me about it. It's like, thanks a lot, guy. Jeez.
Yeah. I don't like to exercise the gray matter. It's like I'm just here to draw and not think.
Yeah. You know what this kind of reminds me of with this color scheme right now on mine is like it looks like a radish. It looks like a radish. Like there's the little leaves, and then there's the radish, and here's the roots.
That's a messed up radish, though.
Yeah.
Aren't radishes supposed to be bulbous?
Yeah, kind of, but you got kind of a bulbous thing going on there. But yeah, man.
I'd eat it. I put that
like
in a salad.
The colors in yours, Ricardo. Would you
What's
tattoo
that?
it? Would you tattoo it with those colors?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'd bump up the contrast quite a bit for sure. You know what I mean? But I would definitely do it with some of these colors. I've been trying to focus and direct myself with colors and stuff like that. Like if I have such a long period of time where I have to really sit down and think as far as like what colors am I gonna do? What colors am I gonna do? Holy shit, I'm freaking out. You know what I mean? But like I've been trying to focus more on like complementary colors, analogous colors, and things like that, tetradic color schemes. It's been like focusing on it a little bit differently, approaching it a little bit differently has helped out quite a bit. But yes, I would definitely do it like this, but I would just bump up the contrast quite a bit.
We do have now the raw Procreate palette. If you're ever interested in that, it's an exact match to the ink. Let's just send that over to you soon. If Faith didn't send it to you yet.
I would love to. Because that's one of the things I think that the client would like to see for sure. You know what I mean? And you always have that approach with like, what colors am I going to make this? And a lot of the times you can kind of start with the client and just ask them what their favorite color is, you know? And if you have something like that with that color palette, you can kind of direct yourself from, let's say their favorite color is purple, you know, and you can start kind of using that color palette to direct the rest of the color scheme off of that one main color. That would work out really well. I'd like to check that out. Plus, you gotta love them raw pigments, son.
Oh, this weekend was fun. Because like when you have something that's new kind of to artists, you really have to explain things in a new way, especially if it's different. So one of the things I enjoyed the most was the wide array and wide just the lovely feeling of introducing something to someone for the first time and then them coming back and saying, "Whoa, that was awesome." So I enjoyed that quite a bit.
Pretty radical.
Yeah. But overall, speaking of like companies and inks and stuff like that, their industry was there. The guys Eric and Matt were really cool. Um, let's see, World Famous, Eternal, Fusion, everybody was there, and it was really cool to be amongst some of the best companies in the world.
Rad.
Yeah.
It's always so daunting to me to like meet people that are doing these things. You know what I mean? It's so crazy. Always have to kind of like take a deep breath and be like, okay, everything's fine. I'm not gonna freak out. Just go say hello to people.
Yeah, exactly.
Just say hi. Just say hello. It's okay, Ricky. Don't freak out.
Well, I needed you to hold my hand basically at Paradise. I think you were the first person to be like, "Hey, what's up?" And I was just like, "Oh God, thank God somebody came up to me because I can't go. I can't say hi to anybody."
Yeah.
What do you think that reason was? Did you feel like it was were you intimidated? Are you naturally shy or waiting for something? I'm curious where your mind was with that.
Oh God, that's a really good question because I'm not a shy person at all. I'm usually actually apologizing for my lack of shy. I get a little too comfortable too quickly. But I don't know. I think I was intimidated, not because it was so much of an intimidating environment, but because at that point I had only been tattooing for like a year. And I was surrounded by all these people who already knew each other and were already established, and some people that I like really admire and stuff. Like I had been listening to Fireside for a long time. So when Jake was there, it's like, oh my God, that's the guy from Fireside. And then I saw like Gabe running around frantically getting whatever done that he needed to get done. I was like, yo, that's the guy from Reinventing. And then I like turn around and I recognize some other people from the videos. And I don't know, I think it was a little bit starstruck.
Yeah.
Yeah, and intimidating because, small fish surrounded by a whole bunch of like sharks in the industry, and just being all like, oh my God, I'm not on the same playing field as these guys. These guys are incredible. I am nothing. But as soon as Ricardo like came up and was like, hello, I got way more comfortable. I was like, oh yeah, they're normal people.
Yeah.
Talk to them.
Yeah, that's exactly it, man. I know exactly what you're saying about feeling like kind of starstruck. Like that's what I kept telling myself the whole time. I was like, don't nerd out, don't nerd out, don't nerd out, don't nerd out, don't fanboy all over these guys. You know what I mean? Because like I felt the same exact way about everybody, like meeting everybody there in person, even the people that like we talked to, like you and Medusa and like everybody just on the Zoom calls and stuff like that, man. I was nerding out the whole time, dude. I was like, oh my God, everybody's here. This is so cool.
Wait,
But
was
yeah,
that your first Paradise?
Yeah, that was my first Paradise. Yeah.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
you were like going there every year. Like you seemed like you just knew everybody right off the bat and lived there. I didn't think you were a first timer at all. My gosh, you had me fooled.
Yeah. Isn't it crazy how we perceive things? Like the way that we perceive it and the way we tell ourselves that that's the way that it is, and it becomes our truth. You know what I mean? Like it's wild. Like
Yeah.
that's the way that I try to approach things in that sense where it's like, okay, the things that I'm thinking don't necessarily make it true. So I'm just going to go say hello so I can figure it out from there.
Hey guys, while you're talking, I want to say hi to Bruno, one of all of our favorite people. I already said hi to Kyle and Atomic, but they're in the chat, so it's pretty cool. Bruno, if you want to jump on, I just updated that link. Vincent, Atomic, if you guys want to jump on, reinventingthetattoo.com, scroll down to the calendar and click the Zoom here button.
Bruno, what's up, dude? Yeah, that was actually, speaking of which, that was the first time that me, Jason, Kier, and Bruno were all in the same room at the same time together, and so that was pretty awesome too. But I appreciate you saying that, Medusa. Like, no, man, it was my first time there, and last year I made it one of my priority goals to like just stop hiding behind myself. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's scary as shit because I'm not that type of person. Like normally in certain circumstances, I'm the same way where it's like, oh, I'm sorry, I was kind of loud, or I'm sorry I said that. It might have offended somebody or something like that. But like when it comes to meeting new people or being around other artists and stuff like that, especially other tattoo artists or other artists, I get kind of like clammed up too. And I think it's a natural thing for us as you know what it is. I think it's because we expose ourselves with our artwork. You know what I mean? Like growing up, I moved around so much that and so often that I wouldn't even talk to people sometimes because I was like, I'm not going to know these people in another 2 weeks anyway. You know what I mean? Or I'm not going to know these people in the next month. I'll never see them again ever. So I would always just draw and people would just come up to me and talk to me. You know what I mean? And I
Yeah.
think I use that as like a language, so to speak. So I think we expose ourselves. So it makes us even more nervous rather than just saying hello to people.
Yeah. I think there's also that, like, I know for me, I definitely feel or felt a lot of intimidation as a newcomer, as
Yeah.
somebody that's so new in the industry, just a little tatter tot, as they say, in the same bar as all of these people who've been doing this thing for years, and they're all talking shop, and I'd have no idea what some of them are talking about,
Yeah.
names being dropped, and I'm just like, who? And too embarrassed to ask. And people just talking, about all that stuff that, somebody who's only a year in wouldn't know yet or have the experience of yet. So I came from, I think, a very, very beginner newbie shyness place.
Uh-huh.
There was points where I felt like I didn't deserve to be there.
Oh
Uh,
man.
but but everybody was so welcoming and so nice, and I fell in love very quickly. The whole
The
I
Yeah.
thing,
don't deserve
Medusa,
to
that
be
I would
here.
say is that it's like everybody has been there. It might be different time, different place, different everything, but and that's the thing that it's like Ricardo can reflect on where he's been, Jake, and they're open to talk about it, but don't feel intimidated because it's a shared experience with everybody, you know.
Right.
I think that's something that stuck out to me at the end of it, at the end of that whole weekend and stuff. One thing I realized was that there's a lot of artists out there, and especially at Paradise, where people were super, super humble, and they were completely understanding about somebody coming like fresh into the industry and being so new. Because I've talked to other artists before that feel like gatekeepers, and that won't give a new person the time of day because they didn't have to, like, make an acetate stencil under the ceiling fan with 14 bikers screaming over their shoulder, with a machine that is made out of whatever spare parts you can find laying around that the other artists in the shop will, let you use to make your first coil, whatever. I feel like it was a really, really refreshing environment to be in, where people weren't being gatekeepers, and they were still remembering that they came from a place that was new too. So they were like helping me along and everything. It was probably the kindest, most open-minded, and welcoming tattoo artist environment I'd ever been in. So
That's awesome to hear. That's awesome to hear, man. Yeah, because that's exactly the way that I felt about it too. And like I think I will touch on what Lauren said again too, which is everybody has been there at one point in time. Like we jump into this, it's like we jump into the middle of a story sometimes, you know what I mean? Into the middle of a book where there's been this whole introduction to this person starting from the fresh point of the story, the first part of the story. And we miss the fact that there's all these years that have been put into time and effort on their part to become like what they don't even realize sometimes that they are. You know what I mean? like all these amazing artists and stuff like that. Like, I mean, man, dude, I can only imagine. Like, even listening to guys sometimes talk about, like, he's been tattooing for over 30 years, you know, and to have him in the classes and talking about how inspirational it is to see everybody's drawings and stuff, and how crazy it is to see everybody progressing and things like that. Like, it's a rekindling of the fire sometimes, even for these people that have been doing it for such a long time. And I think, like I said before, we paint these pictures of these people where we can't go up to them and talk to them because they're just so good. Like, what are they going to say to me? You know what I mean? They won't even remember me, and maybe they won't. But the fact is that most of the time when you go up to people like that and you just say hello and just talk to them, like, it changes the entire dynamic for you, you know?
I agree. And I think the concept of the gate with the gatekeepers, you know, I first started coming into the industry in 2007. I think those gates were still kind of a little bit secure, let's say. Whereas now it's a little bit different. But I think that those guys, they have the gate for a reason. And I think that it's hard to understand unless we lived through it with them. And they had, you know, a lot of different pressure that we don't have the same type of pressure today. They didn't have, and I'm sure that's a little chip on their shoulder in some ways, unless they have accepted it at this point. But they're seeing so many things that were entirely unacceptable. And it's probably like sensory overload almost. And they feel some sort of reason to protect. And not everyone is like you or Ricardo or Bruno, where they're actually really trying to be the best part artist they can be. And it's a hustle for thousands of people. It's a hustle. And I'm sure when they're thinking about it, they kind of group all the new artists kind of in that spot because it's so overwhelming and so different from what they were raised in. But that I don't think those gates will never be open, but I think that sense of protection is kind of cool as long as they're nice about it and they're accepting of those who actually deserve it.
Yeah, I think one thing, because I had a talk with my boss about it, you know, she's old school. She apprenticed in the early 90s and stuff. Like, her flash sheets got Chrome Panthers.
Nice.
And, but what she was telling me is because at the last convention that we had worked at together, the Pacific Northwest Tattoo Expo, the booth across from us was with the guy who had been tattooing for like 30 plus years. And they were, you know, chit chatting about their coils and talking about the good old days. And she, like, you know, shared some insight with me that he had shared with her. And I guess what they were discussing was that some of the old ways have been forgotten or lost per se, because that generation had been so much had done so much gatekeeping. So now they're all like, oh crap, we still need to be teaching these people these things, even if it's an antiquated method, to keep, you know, the spirit alive and to show them where tattooing comes from. We can't be hiding all this information.
Yep.
So
that's a good point.
That's a really good point. I like that a lot, actually, because that's exactly it. It's like, go ahead.
Oh, I just was going to say that was really a cool thing to hear from somebody who was acting a little bit gatekeepery and then saw over the decades how hiding information affected the industry. And now he's all like 30 some years in being like, no way, I'm going to share this information because keeping it to myself wasn't productive.
It's kind of along the lines, but what Guy was saying as well is, like, if you become like that over time, you become senile, and then your growth is done. At that point, your growth is done.
Yep.
So being connecting yourself with artists that you never thought would, and honestly, I won't say that that's everybody. We all know that there's a difference between a hustler tattoo artist and someone who is really trying to make a difference in life, and that's their career path, right? But yeah, it's cool to see some of those guys like you're talking about, or the woman you're talking about, really like reassess what's important.
I agree completely. I think it's cool to hear it said like that. I think it's cool to hear it approached like that. It's like, it's almost one of those things where it's like people were so tight-lipped because they didn't want anybody else new coming in, et cetera, whatever the reasoning was. It's almost like manifesting your own destiny, right? Like where you call it into fruition. Like they're trying so hard to keep something so secret that guess what? Your secret dies with you, right? So like it is important to kind of share those things, and you're kind of calling it into fruition on your own with it's counterintuitive to what you're actually trying to do. And especially if it's coming from like this like negative space where you're trying to protect it for the wrong reasons, right? Like if you're protective over it, like what we said a little bit ago, where it is healthy for you to respect and appreciate what it is that you've worked so hard to collect, and the people that are deserving, and however that's judged or determined is up to you inevitably, right? But I mean, still, you have to protect what you've worked so hard for, but at the same time, you want to share it with the people that show the same ambition and drive as you do. And like, I think
Yeah,
that's
you
one of
gotta
the
keep it
coolest parts about
alive.
BYOB. Yeah, that was one of the coolest parts about BYOB is everybody was there to like do the same thing, like meet each other, talk, hang out. Man, I've never been a part of something so big as with that many group of people, that collection of an amount of people, and like talked about the same kind of things. It was awesome. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, BYOB had me tingling on the insides. Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to be at like with a bunch of tattoo artists, but not in a convention setting.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly.
I think that's something I really, really appreciated about it, was definitely just being able to focus on the art and hang out and be with other tattooists and not have to also work at the same time.
Yep. Speaking of work, I think it's about almost 10:20, 10:30 my time, so 11:20. And then Lisa, how far behind are you? You're 2 hours behind us, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, it is 8:22 where I'm at right now. So
Man, thanks for
3.
joining in.
Yep.
Man, that's awesome. Thank you so much
Yeah.
for getting up early and coming in. So
Yeah,
cool.
dude, it was like 6:45 when I logged in, and I was thinking, oh, it doesn't start for like another hour. And then you like accepted my thing, and I was like, oh crap, I gotta get out of bed.
Oh man, that's awesome. I felt the same way this morning, I promise though. But yeah, speaking of which, I think I'm gonna jump off because I'm gonna have to start getting ready for this tattoo coming up. Let me turn this camera around real quick. Do some sign off stuff.
Yeah, that sounds good, Ricardo. It's been a cool
Okay,
time
cool.
chatting with you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. Likewise. Medusa, if you want to let us know let everybody know how to get a hold of you, where to find you, where to reach you.
Hold on, I got it here on my thing. Here we go.
There you go.
There we
Alright.
go. Medusa Slays with 3 S's at the ends. All right. That's it.
That's it. There you go. Everybody screenshot that. Cool. Well, thank you for joining us. Lauren, thank you so much for all the help, behind all the work behind the scenes. I couldn't do it without you. Medusa, thank you for joining in with us. Everybody in the chat, thank you so much. Good to hear from you guys. Next time, jump on in, join the conversation, and see where it goes. My name is Ricardo Sturdivant. You can reach me here every Tuesday for Tuesday Feels and drawings and hangs. You can reach me on Instagram at Candor Tattoo. That's CANDOR Tattoo. I look forward to seeing you guys next